I just heard the most shocking answer from a New York Jets player in my history of doing this business, and I absolutely loved it. Let's get into it. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever done.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Howdy diddly, everybody. My name is Paul Eston Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Hope you guys enjoyed your time with your loved ones. I certainly did for the 4th of July, and now the next mile marker for the world, quite frankly, and sports in particular, of course, is training camp coming up and rapidly approaching for the New York Jets. We'll have a lot of content on that coming up, including this very video. And I have to be honest, I've had the great pleasure, and a thank you to the fans to make this possible. I've had the great pleasure of doing this. And what this is sports talk radio, New York Jets, content creation, articles, podcasts, whatnot. I've had the pleasure of doing this for over a decade. So thank you to all the fans that have made that possible. I may have just heard the most stunning, shocking answer from a New York Jets player I've ever heard. And I will let you guys judge it yourself here. Here is the clip. Ethan Greenberg, the New York Jets team reporter, is doing an interview. And by the way, the Jets staff did a lot of these interviews. They bunched them all up during OTAs, so we would all have content to consume during this lull period between the end of mandatory minicamp, which the Jets never had, and the start of training camp. So they record a bunch of these videos, but they're methodically releasing them like 1 or 2 a week. And so we got to hear, a 3-minute interview with Jamie and Sherwood. But I want to highlight a clip that I pulled out that was just kind of stunning to me, quite frankly, with the level of transparency, the level of blunt honesty that I haven't seen in a long time. It's rare for athletes to be this honest. Let's roll the footage to let you guys hear it yourself. Here's Ethan Greenberg. You'll hear him with the question, and Jamie and Sherwood's surprisingly candid response. Here we go.
From a cerebral perspective, where do you feel like you are as an NFL linebacker, again, because you had to make the transition?
I'm not gonna rank myself amongst other people. Like I said, I only have 25 snaps. There's people who play every game, every week, So I'm gonna just say I'm at the bottom, and I'll just say a wolf that's climbing the mountain is always hungrier than the wolf on top of the mountain. So, when I get my shot this year, it all comes to light.
Beautiful. So a couple of things there. First off, the shocking response is we live in a world, okay, where it's NFL machizo. Okay, we're all tough guys. We're all the best of the best. Hey, how do you think you guys are going to do this? We're of course going to win 110%. I'm the best player of all time. And you have to have that confidence in yourself, quite frankly, to reach that level. I'll even say it from a content creator perspective. You guys hear all this hubbub and I'm throwing words around, bring energy to the table because I have immense confidence in myself. I have high self-esteem. I think highly of myself. And because to me, I think if you're not going to advocate for yourself, who the hell is going to advocate for you? So I feel like I'm my own best promoter and that energy is infectious to other people. But going to this Jamie and Sherwood thing, where again, players are trained, constructed, this superhero-like thing. And for Jamie and Sherwood to have the brutal level of honesty to say, where am I right now? I'm at the bottom and I got to work my way up. And I love that line that, the wolf that's climbing the mountain is way hungrier or always hungrier than the wolf at the top of the mountain. And there's something to that, certainly. And you guys, by the way, can check out the full article down below with quotes like that and other inside info on Jamie and Sherwood's path and also the Quan Alexander factor, which we'll talk about a little bit here today. Also, make sure you get involved in the comment section on the Heavy.com article. We're doing Jets giveaways all the time, baby. We're going to be randomly picking out people that provide engaging comments. So if you want free Jet stuff, booyah, that's how you do it. Giving back to you, the fans. But getting back into it here, for Jamien Sherwood. I'm going to be honest, I have not believed in Jamien Sherwood. I've been among Jet Central and all these other people that have been begging for, Quan Alexander to come back, because I feel like it's not going to be crazy money. Obviously, we're getting to this stage of the offseason, and he would just provide some insurance at the linebacker position that would make me feel a lot better. So I don't have a lot of confidence in Jamien Sherwood, or quite frankly, any other linebacker on the roster not named C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams. We're talking Chaz Surratt, Zaire Barnes, Hamza Nasser-Lardine, those kinds of names. And maybe there's a few I'm even not placing here. But hearing this comment from Jamien, and just kind of the full interview for that matter, I'm starting to buy some stock on Jamien Sherwood, for Pete's sake. This is a guy, if you remember, the Robert Saleh did it twice, Hamza Nasser-Lardine and Jamien Sherwood, guys that were safeties in college, but immediately after the Jets drafted them, they converted them to linebackers. And to go beepity boopity bop and wave a magic wand, it takes some time to convert from safety to linebacker. There's schematic changes. There's playbook. There's a weight conversion, because you play a lot lighter in theory at safety than you would at linebacker. So there's all these things that factor in. And Jamien Sherwood, there's other clips you guys can see in the article down below where he just has this level of transparency with, I came in as a 212-pound safety. This is Jamien Sherwood saying this. And, I didn't know nothing about nothing, didn't know linebackers game, didn't know anything. And I've just had time to sit back, because he played, folks, 2% of the defensive snaps last year. So like nothing. Okay. He played, as he mentioned it, 25 snaps. If we're going by the specific number, which again is 2% of the defensive snaps for the Jets last year. So non-existent. And really has been non-existent through his first 2 years in the league. A nice special teams player. That's good. That's obviously giving him a roster spot rather. But in terms of the defensive prowess, it just hasn't been there yet. And he's now halfway through his rookie contract. Any draft pick that is outside of the first round gets a 4-year deal. Draft picks are drafted inside the first round get a 4-year deal plus a 5th-year option. So that's how the contracts work. So the Jets are halfway through this young man's contract. And I think all of us kind of go, we don't know what he's going to be, good, bad, or indifferent. We haven't seen enough of a sample size to be able to determine. But the Jets staff, Rich Cimini is another one that I know has directly mentioned it. Jamien Sherwood is penciled in as that third linebacker starter, which if you look at the Quan Alexander numbers, that's about 50% of the snaps. So they're not always aligned in the 4-3 scheme where you would have 4 defensive linemen and 3 linebackers on the field. Quan Alexander last year played in all 17 games, made 12 starts. So it depends on how they start the game on whether or not he notches the start. So it's not necessarily about, hey, we need to get this third starter at linebacker. To me, it's more important for the insurance of depth, because if Quincy or CJ Mosley gets hurt right now, you're going to, all those names I mentioned with Surratt and Sherwood and Hamza and all these other cats at this current point on the 90-man roster. So that's why I would personally add a Quan. But it seems like the Jets are believing in this young man, that young man being Jamien. And obviously, there's a price difference. Jamien's making relative pennies to what Quan Alexander would make. And if he makes that leap, if the Jets believe Robert Saleh, this linebacker whisperer throughout his career, so if anyone's going to do it, if anyone's going to grab a piece of clay and mold it to what they want it to be, it would be this Jets coaching staff, and then in theory, a guy like Jamien Sherwood, who Mel Kiper, I remember coming out of the draft. I love hearing the bits immediately when guys are drafted. He called them one of the best tacklers of any position coming out of the draft. So he brought that to the table, but obviously there's a lot to learn going from safety to linebacker and the transition from the collegiate game to the NFL game. So he's a guy, I'm going to be honest, I've not bought in stock on at all this offseason, quite frankly. But after hearing some of these comments, digging into some of the analytics and some of the bursts that we've seen from Jamien, I'm starting to say, maybe. There's no guarantee he's going to be a stud or a superstar or anything, but I'm buying some stock on this young man, and it was really cool. It's really, a humble feeling in this NFL, like I said, where all these guys all the time are selling you the cliche quotes, 110% and this and that. And Jamien says, nah, man, I'm at the bottom of the pile. I got to work my way up. I got to earn my place. And another great quote he had in there was, when the lights are off, I'm studying, I'm soaking up, I'm absorbing. So even though technically he hasn't been getting all these reps on the field, he said, hey, I haven't been, scratching my sack over here. I've been doing everything in my power to get better. And he believes he will, and so do the Jets. We'll see ultimately if that comes to fruition in training camp as he's fighting for that third linebacker spot. Everybody, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe down below for more awesome New York Jets content on a nearly daily basis. And like I said, Heavy.com article on almost every YouTube video we do. There's a conjoining article to the video. And if you comment on the Heavy.com articles, it's in the comment section at the bottom of the article. You will be entered in. I'm keeping a running list of all the people that provide engaging comments. And if you comment multiple times, like on multiple articles, you share your take on one, share your take on the other, you're entered more times. So it's not just one and done. The more times you enter, the more opportunities you have to win some free Jets merch. And of course, it's a cool community where I can engage with you guys one-on-one and give you guys some more attention. And I love the fans, so I always want to give back. And we're trying to do that. Anywho, thanks for all that, Jazz. Hopefully you enjoyed the holiday. We got a ton of content coming out here on the channel. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in,